We're all familiar with that 2-week Minecraft phase. Start a brand new world, explore and build, beat the game, but then what do? After 2 weeks you've done everything, and now the game feels stale. So, how do we fix this? Well, in this challenge I'm calling the Minecraft Progression Challenge, inspired by Nuts' series, should freshen up the game a bit. For this challenge, in each episode I will be limited to a certain set of gear that I will call phases. As I progress through the world and complete different challenges, I will earn the next set of gear. This will allow me to fully explore each phase of the game, just how Mojang intended. Now, without further ado, welcome to the Minecraft Progression Challenge. Alright, fresh world. Let's get started here. No better way than to start punching some trees. Well, it only took about 10 seconds, but that's the full list of tools I can use this whole episode. Oh, perfect, a village. Okay, let's go check that out. While I head over to the village, let me explain what challenges I would like to complete this episode. The first challenge is gathering a full set of wooden tools and leather armor, which you've already completed half of this goal. The next challenge is to get all my starter farm set up as well as collect some animals. The last challenge is to collect all the overworld types of wood. Without completing these goals, I will be unable to move on to the next phase of gear. And I'll take some of this for food. Ooh, nice, a leather hat, that's perfect. And just like that, we have 1 out of the 4 leather armor pieces. I'll take a bit more food and give these cows a few more friends. After raiding the village, I headed to the nearby taiga biome to find a place to set up camp. Alright, and we made it to the taiga biome. I'm super excited to start my base here. We all know spruce is an S tier wood, so I think it'd be really fun to set up a base in this biome, but maybe somewhere with less snow. Ooh, what do we have here? Whoa, okay. This is a huge ruined portal. I've never seen one spawn so big before. Let me know if you guys have ever seen one this big, because this is actually crazy. Alright, let's check the chest, and okay. Well, a lot of useful stuff. Nothing we can take though, unfortunately. It's still the first episode, so we have to remember that we're still stuck on wooden tools and leather armor. As the sun began to set, I quickly became desperate to find a place to call home. Okay, let's just keep going here. See if we can. Oh, hello. That's a fully gold skeleton. Okay, let's avoid him. Not trying to mess with him. Oh, there's more. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's get out of here. Oh man, I always forget how hard this game is when you don't have any armor. Whoa, buddy. Where did he come from? Man, that creeper almost gave me a heart attack. Holy. Alright, I think I finally found a good spot. Oh, this skeleton will excuse itself. We found a good spot here. No snow, and there's a nice pond in the middle, so I think this is a good spot to start our starter base. Just like that, I drifted off to sleep, ready to have a nice peaceful night, when all of a sudden I was ambushed by this zombie that was on fire. But all was good. I made quick work of him with my wooden sword. Oh, like I said before, I think I'm gonna set up camp here. I'm just gonna go ahead and start clearing some trees and then maybe building some animal pens while I'm at it. Alright, I think that's enough time spent on the animals for now. I think I'm gonna just go and head out and kind of explore what's beyond the nearby taiga biome. Well, as you can see, it's night now. I don't know how much of that I'm gonna show. There really wasn't much interesting. It's just a lot of taiga. But I'm gonna keep going and just see if I can find anything of interest out here. Oh no! Well, that kind of sucks. Luckily though, we're still on wooden tools and leather armor, so we didn't actually lose a whole lot. The only thing of value we really did lose was the helmet, but we can always get that back now that we have cows. It does remind me though, I do want to make a book and quill to sort of keep track of the challenges and my progress towards the challenges. and hopefully I won't die with it and lose it. Oh, and maybe that rain is a bit of a bad omen. Let's hope not. Okay, so for the collecting all the wood challenge, so far we have oak, birch, and spruce. And for it to count for this challenge, I need the wood and also the sapling. This is kind of obvious, but I just want to make sure I remember to grab saplings so I can grow these trees, and then I can use the wood for any builds I want to make. Anyways, I think it's time I just go explore and just see what else I can find. Ooh, cool. An ice village. It's not every day you see one of these. As with any village, I will gladly take your crops. Well, I looted the rest of the village, and there really wasn't anything interesting, but I did spot this igloo across the lake. And honestly, it's been a while since I've been in one. I don't even know if I have been in one before. As much as I played Minecraft, I never really go into igloos, so I do kind of know what's at the bottom, which I don't think is super valuable to us at the moment. And let's see. Alright, yeah, there's the zombie villager. And let's just quickly check this chest. I will take that coal, but the rest of this I will not be touching. I will take this cactus though, just for a little plan I've got later on. That plan does involve cooking it in the furnace. You guys can say I'm cheating. It's okay, I'm just using it for one piece of dye, so don't worry. Oh my god, you know, I actually hate the snow so much. I don't think I've ever stepped in so much powdered snow in my life. You know, I think I'm going to use one of the 2 remaining brain cells I have to make some leather boots. I totally forgot that these can let you walk on powdered snow. This would have been so nice to have earlier. Alright, I finally made a home, and I think I'm going to take some time to start expanding my crop farms, just so I can get a bit more food coming in. I also think it's about time that I probably start cleaning out some spaces for some future buildings, so I'm going to do that quickly. Yeah, I think it's a nice little spot there. Before I started building, I wanted to make sure I had all the wood types, just so I could have a good selection of blocks to work with. Before heading out on this adventure though, I wanted to make sure I had enough protection in the form of leather armor and food. So I breeded my cows and planted some crops. It was at this point that I realized I had actually forgotten to record. So to give a recap on what happened, I killed some of my cows, made a set of leather armor, and dyed it to match my skin. With that done, we've now completed the first challenge of the episode. Now, let's get back to the journey. Well, I found this village super close to my base, which will definitely be useful later on. Ooh, it's good, but definitely not something we can use until later. And I might be regretting this challenge just a little bit, because those iron tools and that armor look so good right about now. As you've probably already guessed, I will be taking their pumpkins and their crops. I found this other village, and finally there was some loot that we could actually take. Oh my god, is that dark oak? Oh, finally. I've been looking for so long. I finally found a different biome that wasn't just oak, spruce, or birch. Alright, let's grab some of this wood, and now we can finally add another wood type to the list. Oh, nice. There's a pill garden literally right behind the dark oak. Let's grab some of this. I'll probably be grabbing a lot since I do plan on using this quite a bit. While I'm here, I did want to test something with the new creaking mop. I heard that they don't do a lot of damage, so I wanted to see how much they do with just leather armor. And okay. Not a lot. Hey there, little guy. Oh, finally found another wood type, and it's the cherry blossom wood. I think I'm only going to take about 5 blocks of this because I really don't see myself using it much. Either way, we can now add this to our list as well. I also found a jungle biome really close by, and wow, did it take me forever to chop this tree down. Ooh, off in the distance, I can see some acacia, the second last wood to be added to the list. Oh, and finally, after so much searching, we finally found the last wood, the mangrove wood. And we'll add the final wood to the list. What the heck? Why am I not getting... I'm getting no saplings from these leaves. Oh my god. I forgot about the propagules. I thought it was saplings. Alright, well, we made it back all in one piece. And you can see here we've got all the overall wood types, which means we finally completed that entire goal. Before moving on to the next challenge, I do want to make a quick storage house. So let's do that. Now, for the moment I'm sure you've all been waiting for. let's have a quick tour of this place. First, we got the little bedroom here. Doesn't look too good, not very decorated. It is more of a temporary place, just because I don't have a lot of buildings in yet, but yeah, this will probably change into something else in the future. Next, we have all the chests and the storage. I've only organized about half of them. It's kind of hard to figure out what you need to store when you can only have so few blocks, but that does mean there is room for expansion in the future. Then finally on this side, we just have a little kind of crafting area, a bit more storage, just to kind of liven things up in here. Honestly, there's a lot of empty space, but that is just because I know I'll need the space for future phases and when I have better gear and different blocks to use. So yeah, for now, honestly, it does look a little plain, but that will definitely change. Now that we're done with the big storage building, we can now get to work on the barn, which will house all of the animals that I need to collect. But it looks like we are very low on wood, so first let me gather some real quick. I don't know if any of you have ever chopped down a giant spruce tree with only a wooden axe, but I definitely do not recommend it. Now that I've gathered some wood, I'm just starting to plan out the kind of basic structure of the barn. I definitely didn't clear enough space for this, so I will have to do some terraforming. And for the overall style of the build, I think it'll be pretty similar to what I did for the storage house. I did like the overall design, so I will be continuing that with this. Anyways, I'm going to get to building, and I'll see you once it's done. And I think we're just about done. Just adding a few more finishing touches here and there. This definitely took a little longer than I was expecting. I actually built it wrong and had to rebuild pretty much all of it. One entire section was off by 2 blocks, which is probably due to my poor planning. But yeah, when you're working with wood tools, taking apart an entire barn and rebuilding it is not a very fun experience. This barn does have a lot of space for the cows, pigs, and sheep, but there really isn't any space for the chickens inside. So I'll have to make a quick chicken coop just on the outside of the barn. Unfortunately, they may be a little isolated, but I'm sure they'll be okay. And so now it was time to get the animals into their respective pens. The cows and sheep were no problem at all, as we already had them laying around. The pigs and chickens, however, posed a lot of issues. The pigs weren't too bad, I just had to go very far to get them, and was ambushed by an army of skeletons when I got back. I also had this close encounter with a creeper, but no real damage was done. One good thing that came out of looking for these pigs was this skeleton spawner I found by an ice village nearby that was really close to the surface. I think this is one of the most convenient spawners I've ever seen in my life. But like I said earlier, the chickens were the real problem. Not only was the amount of nearby chickens already low due to the local populations of foxes, but as I was bringing my chickens home, they were stalked and eaten by these foxes, twice. After the second time, I decided to check the replay file to see what was going on. I thought these foxes were getting in by jumping off a nearby dirt block, but it turns out they can actually jump 3 to 4 blocks in the air. To solve this problem, I had to make a fully enclosed chicken coop, which made for a tight squeeze, but it was better than the chickens dying. But don't you worry, I did get my timely revenge. Now that I've finally gotten all the animals into their pens, we can cross off half of the remaining challenge. All that was left to do is finally get the starter farms properly set up. The first step in doing this was tearing down the old farms, which frankly looked terrible. This would give me a clean slate to work with to make something much nicer around this pond. Speaking of the pond, I also had to reshape it since the original shape was just not very pleasing. I then went to actually texture the pond with some gravel and pale moss, which I think is becoming one of my favorite new blocks. Moving on, I started to create some pathways and textured these as well, and then started to plant some vegetation around the pond. And we all know no good pathway is complete without some random placements of fence posts. I then moved on to actually making the farms, the first being the wheat farm, and I wasn't actually sure if this would work since I didn't have a water bucket to move water. I just planted the seeds in the dry soil, and luckily that works fine. After the wheat was planted, I then went to plant the carrots and potatoes, as well as some melons and pumpkins. I added the small little beetroot farm, and we all know this crop sucks, so I didn't really need to make a big one. Lastly, I finally replaced that little dirt block on top of my campfire with an actual structure, inspired by the ones you see in villages. Alright, well, I took some time to just AFK and let all my farms grow, and I think everything's looking pretty nice. Yeah, with that, I think we can finally cross off the remaining challenge, which means we can finally move on to the next phase of gear, but that'll have to wait for the next episode. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap up this episode. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you next time.